Hey everyone, this is Kevin from Kevin's Micro Fleet. Today I've got a Micro Galaxy Squadron review. We're going to be taking a look at the Jazwares Vault exclusive Series 8 Light Armor Class Collection. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the figures, at the vehicles, at the packaging. We'll do some measurements and we'll do a comparison. Let's go ahead and dive into the review. So let's go ahead and start here with the packaging. Now, the one thing that's great about this Vault set is that they actually have offered the Series 8 Light Armor class and the Series 8 Starfighter class as a bundle at a discount. So you can check that out in the link in the description below at the Jazwares Vault page to be able to get either one of these collections. Now, the other thing that's great about this collection is that it does include the Obi-Wan Jedi Interceptor Chase. This was very difficult or almost impossible to find at retail. We were able to find a ton of the rare Mace Windu Jedi starfighters, but for some reason the chase just never seemed to make it out to retail. So we are going to get a chance to see that here today and then be able to take a look at what this is and then how it could potentially be different than the version that was actually released earlier in the Grievous Battle Pack. But let's take a look at this packaging here first. So this is actually the shipper box that this would tend to come in if you got this individually. Because I got multiple items, this gets sent in a larger box, and so it doesn't have any damage on it and doesn't have any label. But if you were to just order it individually, you would get this box that has the label on it. So now let's go ahead and open this up to see what comes on the inside. One of the great things that they do with these collections is they actually do really try to protect the interior packaging. And so they have these little pieces that actually go on the inside of the box to help to protect that. Now, as we take this guy out, we get a chance to see the interior packaging. Awesome looking view here of the TIE Striker. And then as we turn this around, we get a chance to see here is our Jedi Starfighter. Now, this is obviously not the actual item, but this is the packaging for the actual item. You can see it's got Series 8 up there, Light Armor Class Collection, Micro Galaxy Squadron, and then it says Star Wars here on the top and the bottom of the box. So now, this guy is not taped shut, but I'll go ahead and open this up here, and now we have a chance to be able to remove the actual item. So now we have the Light Armor Class Collection. And so you can see here on the side, it's got Series 8. So Series 8 is actually a white tab. They changed away from the color coding that they had done through the first few series around Series 6. I think it was Series 6 when they changed it. And then now it's just been all white. It would be nice if they went back to the color coding for each series. Just a fun little feature that's different from box to box. But then we've got here 17 different pieces in this set. And then you can see there's your Vault sticker, your 1 of 1,500. Which is there on the top corner of the box. So we turn this thing around to the back, there's nothing there. You get some airbrush there on the top, and then on the bottom, kind of the same. Now this does have one little piece of tape here that needs to be cut. So already cut that. Now we get a chance to open this up. So when you open this, the one nice thing that they do is they have this nice piece of tissue paper on here to help and protect the actual boxes. So this is obviously supposed to be a premium set, where you get all of these items and they should be in mint condition when you end up opening them. So we can go ahead and remove that, and now we get a chance to see everything. Now the other thing that's great about this, and this was something that they went away from here recently, a couple series ago as well, is you can see this really cool artwork. So this is like a hollow foil finish here on the back of this. And so you can see as I'm moving that around how that has that little bit of color, but it's got an awesome background scene. So you actually have your Trade Federation ship here, your droid control ship, you've got some droids fighters, you've got some interceptors, you got the Jedi Starfighter. Then you actually do have some Vulture droids. So here's your CIS Vulture droid, another Vulture droid over there. And it just looks really, really cool. I mean, it's one of these things that I wish they still had these images on the actual back of the packaging. As part of the artwork for the package, just because it does add a little bit of extra value to the package itself. Most people are just going to rip these things open and throw that away, so it's a bit of a bummer, but it's cool to see that they do still have that artwork and they are still using it somewhere. So now we'll go ahead and pull this thing up here so you get a chance to see it. So there are all of your vehicles for Series 5. So you have your chase and rare up there in the corner, as well as you then have all of your other commons down there at the bottom. Now, you can see here again, Series 8, and we can go ahead and remove this. So if you wanted to take these out of the box, you can take that piece out, and then you can be able to take all of these out of here, and you can see they're all in very good condition. Now, that is what you have for the packaging. So let's go ahead and actually, we'll break some of these out of the box, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at these all individually. For those of you that do want to display this actually in the box, just to give you some quick measurements here for the size of this. So if we're looking here, side to side, that's 19 inches. And then if we're going top to bottom is 12.5. And then the depth here is 3 3/4 inches. So if you were going to display this box as it is, and you wanted to have those dimensions, there you go. Now we have our Series 8 collection all laid out in front of us. So first thing we'll do is we'll start from left to right. So we'll go with our Armada Edition Anakin's Interceptor. So to start out here, the Armada Edition is just a re-release of a previously released vehicle that has either updated deco, or it is an evergreen type of a vehicle that is something that could be utilized multiple times, kind of like this actual Interceptor itself. So you got Anakin and R2, you got your Interceptor in there, it's got Armada Edition on there, 57A. As we turn this thing around to see the back of the packaging, here is what the back of the packaging looks like. This just shows the features of the actual vehicle, and because it's an Armada Edition, it actually has this red coloring to it, which looks really, really cool. And so there you can see how those work, which we'll take a look here in a second. Now, all of these vehicles are up here on my custom 3D printed stands. These are actually all clear stands. I don't offer them in clear on my site, but I do actually have them in black available. The link to the description is, or the link is in the description below. So here is our Jedi Interceptor. And so you can see this guy is relatively small. We got Anakin and R2 in there already. It's got some wings here on the side that will open and close. It does have 3 little landing gear here on the bottom, 1 on the back here, and 2 on the front. And then it also does have an opening cockpit. So as we open that up, we get a chance to see there is Anakin inside, and then R2 does pop out of there as well. Now, he doesn't sit all the way down in there, but that's just a function of how the vehicle was designed, and so that is that. So that is your Interceptor. Not a whole lot to this vehicle, but very cool anyways. And I love how small this thing actually is. So then we move on to our TIE Striker. So I do have the TIE Striker here up again on top of a stand. It does actually come with this other stand here, which we'll take a look at in just a second. But when you're looking at this set and it says 17 pieces, this stand, as well as the stand that comes with the Tri-droid, are 2 pieces that are actually in the packages, which you won't really see. So here we've got our TIE Striker. Whoops. So you can see this guy is from Rogue One. You can see in here our TIE Striker, number 168. And the front of the wings are actually removed for the packaging, which is pretty normal. And then this does say Series 8 there on the side. As we turn it around to the back, you get a chance to see here are the different features to this. It does have the wings that move. It has some dual cockpits, and then you got your other vehicles there on the bottom. And then it shows how it actually inserts on the stand, which we'll show here in just a second. Okay, so now, one thing that is important to know about the TIE Striker, this wing here, which would be on our left side, connects in there pretty good and doesn't really have an issue. The right wing tends to be just a little bit floppy when you plug it in there. And so you'll see here on the bottom, it's got 2 little teeth holes there for the wings to be able to set into. What I've found in all of the TIE Strikers that I've got is that happens and that wing is a little bit floppy. To solve that problem, just take a little bit of super glue. You can take Gorilla Glue and then be able to put it on the little tab that sticks out of here so you can plug the wing on and it will stay in place. You do need to hold it there for just a second. What I did with mine was just kind of put it in a good position. I had the wings laid out flat like this, and then I just set it down on top of the table so that way the wing dried in a good position, and now it's nice and firm and doesn't move anywhere. So from a features perspective, as you can see, I just moved the wings, so they'll actually go all the way up here in this extended position like that. I don't think it ever flies like that, but that is what it looks like. Then you can get it to be nice and flat, and then you can go down all the way. It does have like a nice little click in there. It doesn't quite snap into the positions, but it does have like a little piece there that it does fit into. I would imagine if you move that up and down a lot, you will wear that piece out because it feels like it's just a little bit of a friction hinge. And so you could just wear it out, but whatever, it is what it is. So then you have two different parts here that open. So you have the front cockpit here that opens. Let's see if I can get that, pop that one open. And we have our pilot seat, which is pretty cool. There's a little tab in there to be able to stick the pilot's feet in. And then you have actually a gunner seat here on the back. And so, oh, there you can go. You can see there's our pilot in there. And so the one nice thing about this pilot, let me see if I can get him to come out of there. Perfect. So there you can see what that gunner position looks like. Ton of detail on the interior of this piece, which is really not needed, but you can actually see as you're looking through there, you can kind of see out that front window, even though there's a big piece in the way. But with this pilot, we do have the really nice Imperial cog there on his helmet, which looks fantastic. Glad that they're able to get that on all of their figures now. And those are all of your features for the actual vehicle, just those two cockpits, and then obviously our wing pieces that move. Now to show how this thing fits onto the stand. So it actually will go on this way. And so what happens is that little gun part there kind of slides right down there in between that tab. And you can see that will actually hold this guy in place like that. So if you were to set this down on the table, it sits down nice and flat. Now, obviously, the problem is that you likely want to have this thing elevated in the air like it's flying. And so that's where the flight stand can come into play. And one of the reasons why I designed it the way that I did. So I can go ahead and just push that guy right on there. And now it is in flight position. So that is your TIE Striker and your TIE Striker stand. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at the Tri-droid. So here as we look at this one, you can see this guy comes from Revenge of the Sith. Again, it says Series 8, Tri-fighter there, number 167. This is another type of vehicle I was not expecting to see this in the line, and especially not in a place where there is actually a battle droid that goes inside of it. So not really a vehicle that it would tend to do that with in the movies. This should just be a straight up droid, but very creative way to be able to get this vehicle in the line. Turn this around, we get a chance to see here are the different features to the vehicle. You can see it actually does have some removable missiles here, which we'll take a look at, and then it does have an opening cockpit. This one actually does come with a flight stand, and then obviously you have your blueprint and your other vehicles that are in the line. So now, as we take a look at this guy, very cool. I just really love this vehicle. I think this is so cool that we got this in the line. So here you can see it's actually on this flight stand that has this ball joint. This is the same type of ball joint that they're using for most of the other vehicles. So this could be the Skiff. There is the Z95 Headhunter that has this as well, and a couple others. But here is what it looks like. Now, the paint detailing on this thing is really, really nice. Love all of the detailing and all of these little scratch marks and everything that are on there. It makes it look really, really cool. Awesome engine glow on the back. And then we do have our cockpit that opens to be able to get our droid. And so you can see him sitting in there which is really cool. I mean, that is super creative. When you see this vehicle, this is just slightly larger than the scale that it should be. It's actually, I think, quite a bit larger than the scale it should be. But even still, it is really cool and awesome that they came up with that idea to be able to have a droid sit inside of it, so that way they could get this guy in the line. Otherwise, I don't know how it would get in the line. But then you have these removable missiles here on the bottom. So you can see here, it just kind of clips right inside of that piece there. There actually is, you can see there's like a little tiny slit in there, which is where this part of the fin is going to go to be able to hold that in place so it doesn't just flop around out there. But that is that. Now, this is a relatively soft material. I mean, almost the entire vehicle is made of it, but it still feels relatively firm. You can see everything on this is kind of this like rubbery type of feel to it, but it's so thick it doesn't really move much. So there you go. There is your Tri-droid. Now we move on to our rare vehicle, which is Mace Windu's Jedi Starfighter. Mace Windu is one of my favorite characters in the entire series, and it's really cool to be able to, it was great to be able to get him with his interceptor, and now I'm really pumped to be able to have this one, which is a Jedi Starfighter. So we can see here that this one does come from Clone Wars. We've got our rare one of 15,000. You got the vehicle, there's Mace Windu and his droid. You got Mace Windu's Jedi Starfighter there, number 170. As we turn this thing around to the back, there's not a whole lot to this vehicle, really just an opening cockpit and landing gear, and that's about it. So now, the biggest thing with this guy, again, is going to be just the deco difference. And relative to all of the other Jedi Starfighters, this one is pretty cool. I do like that they added this little green stripe there on there. And that is nice to be able to add some extra color to it. On the bottom, they actually did a really good job with the detailing. One of those things that you just don't really see, and it's awesome to see that Jazwares continues to put these nice little touches on there. I mean, you've got this logo on there as well. You just don't really need that on the bottom of the vehicle because you're rarely going to see that. But if it's flying around and spinning, you will. So here is your opening cockpit. There is a little piece there to be able to open that guy up. Then we've got obviously our Mace Windu figure, as well as the droid. Now, the droid does have this little push button piece here on the bottom to be able to pop him out. So he comes out a lot easier. And then we also have our landing gear here, which is awesome that they did this where it actually hides inside the engine. So there you can see that one. And then you have this one here on the front. There is a tiny little peg hole there. So when these were originally released in series 1 and 2, they did have a hyperspace docking ring that came with them. In order to be able to save cost and to be able to move this down to the light armor class, they actually removed that. So they don't offer that anymore for any of them. But if you did have one, you'd be able to pop it on the front here and it would work. So that is that guy. And now finally we get to our chase, our 1 of 5,000. Here is our Obi-Wan's Jedi Interceptor, Utapu. Or how do you say that? Utapau. There you go. Now this vehicle you can see here, got Obi-Wan just goes there in the cockpit, number 171. Revenge of the Sith, flip this guy around, and we get a chance to see just the same features of the Jedi Interceptor that we looked at earlier, which is Anakin's Armada Edition. Now, this vehicle did come in actually a 2-pack. It was the Grievous Battle Pack, and it came with almost the exact same design, same type of color scheme for sure, but it had a few different features to it. So some of the blue lines on here were just a little bit thicker. And then on the underside, there was also some differences with the paint application on the interior of the wings, as well as the logos on the bottom. And I'll be taking a look at that in another video where I take a deeper dive into this specific interceptor and comparing it to some of the others. So you have to hang tight for being able to watch that. But this is what it looks like. And it looks really cool. Again, super excited to be able to get all different versions of this vehicle. And we're really only missing one more key one, which is coming here soon to target, which will be Anakin's green interceptor from Revenge of the Sith as well. But that is that. So that is your Series 8 collection. We got a chance to see all the different vehicles, all of our commons, as well as our rare and chase finally. If you liked this, please go ahead and like and subscribe. There are links in the description below for the ability to grab some of these flight stands if you wanted to get them, as well as to be able to go to Jazwares Vault to purchase this set, as well as any other Micro Galaxy Squadron vehicles you're looking for. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I look forward to catching everybody on the next review.